You don't want to be that person.
The public shaming, the Target pictures that come through every once in a while, they're like, we're looking for this person, and it's just the person walking out of Target, and you're like, oh, don't want to ever be that guy.
Yeah, that deters you from ever stealing.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
For real.
Times News was for the longest time deterring, making criminals look horrible. They would take their mug shots.
Oh, no.
And it would be like, hey, check out these people. Like this is what they did, Like
yeah.
I was like, oh my God. They were like, but it almost kind of feels like they were almost like bullies, but then it was like, this is like
but it's kind of what we need.
It works.
It does.
Yeah, like the reason people don't want to do bad stuff is because they don't want to be publicly shamed. Imagine like people coming up to you like, hey, I saw you did that.
Or just knowing they
know. Or knowing, yeah. Embarrassing,
So bad.
We are back. I just finished the podcast. Normally what I would do is like change a shirt so it looks like it's a different day, but I'm like, that's silly. I'm not going to do that. It's like, what's the point?
You look great. It's fine.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, this is fine. We're just going to accept that this podcast and the next one will be the same.
Well, you're dressed at least. That's all.
Yeah,
that matters,
exactly.
right?
I'm not. Yeah, exactly. So that would be really weird if I'm like just shirtless having a podcast with people here.
You'd probably get views.
I don't know. I don't know about that. It was like, what am I watching? I don't think anybody has that concept. Maybe somebody does. Oopsie, now we ran into a problem. So we definitely trying this again. There we go. Okay. Let's just hope that doesn't happen again. All right. Yeah, because I've had that happen to me once before where the audio recorder just is like error. Maybe it's like the SD card or so forth. You want to kind of really position it like that. There you go. Perfect.
Okay.
Just like that. Now I think we're good. Okay. All right. Here we go. Round 2. Boop. All right. Welcome back to another podcast. We're still talking to city council candidates. I have Tara here. Mm-hmm. What's your last name, Tara?
Rueda.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think I'm in the talking mode here. I just talked for about an hour, so we'll just... By the end of this, I might lose my voice. Like, all right, tell me about this.
We'll just roll with it.
We'll just roll with it. So, Tara, I guess maybe tell me a little bit more about yourself. I know you're running for seat 5.
Seat 1.
Oh, seat 1. I'm sorry. Seat 1 candidate.
Yes.
And what I was like, what was I going to say? I totally lost my train of thought. But again, going back to tell me a little bit about yourself, because I don't even have a face recognition until you just came in. Your signs don't have a face on you.
They don't.
So it's like when you were buying these signs, did the thought even come to your mind? It's like, I should put my face on these.
No, not really. I mean, yeah, it's a great idea.
It's a great idea now. It's like, hey, it's
yeah,
me.
It's Hannah's fault because I was like, oh man, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and Spencer's got giant signs too. So like, so it's like I would definitely get a giant photo of me and just make a billboard or something like that.
Yeah, I'm actually self-funded, so I'm paying for everything myself. I don't have any endorsers.
So how does that work? So these candidates can get an endorser or something like that?
Yeah, so an endorsement, and then I'm not quite sure how that, if it's a donation.
It's like a donation to your
to your campaign.
To your campaign or so forth.
Yes.
The last person I just talked to said that some of these candidates are backed by some businesses or special interest groups. And I'm like, what?
Oh, probably. I mean, it is politics, but I am not.
You're like, I am not. So you're not one of them, huh?
Not.
You're like, I'm burning my own money on this.
Absolutely.
I'm like, I need to look into this. I need to do a public request and see exactly this funding on here. See who's getting funded by who. you know. But again, it might be, maybe he thinks that's the case, but that's not what's really happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So-
I can't personally speak on that.
Yeah,
So.
it's like I can't personally speak on that. Yeah. So again, I'm like, we're starting like conspiracy theory here now. Jeez, this is
But that's kind of how endorsements work.
Yeah.
So if you have a sponsor of some kind, then they give you money to help pay for advertising and things like that.
Yeah, it's
your
like
signs.
it's like it's like some company really wants like, hey, listen, look, I'll give you a bunch of money to just run your ads, you know. But as long as you align to this idea itself.
Yeah, that's exactly. I thought I was splurging when I did the double-sided sign. I was like,
Double-sided
yeah,
signs.
I was
you're
like, let's upgrade.
Yeah, the thing is, like, you know, people that are running for city candidates, you know, like, what are you gonna do with these signs? You know, it's like you're gonna, well, I got these signs now, but it's
Yeah, exactly.
interesting. But you know what's also nice about it, though, it kind of gets your name out there as well, because then people, like, you know, you said you do real estate, right? That's my understanding. You're like a
Yes.
real estate agent.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, hey, you're advertising yourself as a real estate agent. Like, check me out. You shouldn't put
Yeah.
like also a real estate agent.
Yeah, and then I
don't
could
know if
double
that's-
the signs, right?
Yeah, I don't know if that's like allowed. They probably have some kind of rules and things that you can have on
Yeah,
there.
probably. A
Yeah.
little bit of mixing.
Mixing, yeah. So again, going back to, we're so off topic, left and right, you know. Tell me a little bit about yourself, I guess. Like, did you grow up here? Like, just
Yes. So I actually was born in New Jersey, and I was moved to Wendell, Idaho when I was 9, and that was
Wendell, Idaho.
total culture shock.
You know, like Wendell, Idaho. Where the heck is, like, I know it's like these little cities around. It's like they just elude me.
Yep, it's about 25 minutes or so from Twin Falls. So it goes Twin Falls, Jerome, Wendell, and
Oh,
and
okay, I
then
know where
Gooding.
Wendell is at. Yeah.
It's right off the freeway. So I actually
And why did you move back to Wendell or move to Wendell?
my mom moved us out here
Uh-huh.
from New Jersey because her mom and dad lived in Wendell, and my grandpa actually graduated from Wendell. So
Gotcha.
his roots were here, and then he went to New Jersey, met my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, and then they moved back out here when he retired. I think to be closer to my great grandmother, who was living in the nursing home in
Yeah.
Wendell.
Okay.
So that's how they ended up back out here, and
Wendell.
then my mom followed them a few years later.
And how old were you when you kind of like moved here to Wendell?
I was 9, so
Oh,
I was
9.
in 4th grade.
Okay.
So totally different than everything I was used to growing up. And the first time I saw the mall, I was like, where's the second story? Where's the
second-
water fountain?
Yeah, it's funny because like when because I originally, you know, immigrated to Twin Falls.
Okay.
And I was thinking we're gonna be like into like a New York style, right? And then it was like middle of the night. They're like driving us, and I was like, "Where are the
lights?"
buildings?" You know, like where are the buildings? You know, like I thought it was gonna be more like New York, how you see
Yeah.
stuff on TV. It was like, where are the buildings? There wasn't any buildings.
No, there's way more now than there was even back then.
Yeah. So, but yeah, keep going, I guess.
Yeah, so then I graduated from Wendell. So I spent most of my childhood, and then I graduated and moved to Twin Falls like immediately after. That was back in the day when the light at Washington and Pole Line was a 4-way stop.
Okay.
That's how far back that goes, which really isn't that far, sadly. And I've just watched the town grow from there. I've had 4 boys in that time frame, and they have their roots here in Twin Falls, and 2 of them have already graduated. I have 2 more to go, but it's just going so fast. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's Twin Falls is growing. And I guess what made you kind of, you know, well, did you, after you graduated high school, did you go to college or anything like that? Or
Actually, I came to Twin. I got pregnant relatively young. So I had my son. I tried to go to CSI.
Yeah.
It was kind of difficult with a small infant
Yeah.
and making it to class. So I put it off for a little bit, and then I ended up going through the University of Phoenix and got my bachelor's degree that way. And I'm actually in my first year of law school now.
oh, you're gonna be like a lawyer.
Yeah, trying to
I'm trying to be a
together
lawyer. Yeah, you know,
everything.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a whole. Yeah, being a lawyer, you know.
Yeah, the first year has been it's
It's
great,
probably
but
tough.
challenging.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
tough to be a lawyer. You gotta know
Yeah.
how everything works.
So many little details that
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
to
What kind of
remember.
lawyer? Because there's different types of lawyers are out there. What kind of lawyer are you interested to be?
Well, I have a really extensive history experience with credit repair. And also being a realtor, I've seen there's a whole group of people out there that really don't know what they're doing in terms of preparing to buy a house or even getting their credit to where it needs to be to buy a house and consumer credit and things like that. I would really like to pull that all together in terms of protecting the consumer from companies that mess up their credit for, no reason. There's so many little laws out there that make it possible for people to not even know that they have inaccuracies on their credit report.
Credit report itself, yeah.
So I would like to be that person that brings it all together and helps people go from thinking they'll never own a home and paying a lot in rent to owning their first home and then growing that into, real estate wealth in the community that they live in. So helping them learn about, wills and things like that to protect themselves.
Yeah, they can help write out the contract or something like that.
Understand what they're signing. Most
Understand what
people,
they're signing and so forth. Yeah.
I could put anything in front of somebody and they'd be like,
Yeah,
I'm
it's like you just signed your life away. Yeah.
And thankfully, I have my clients at heart 100%.
Oh,
so
that's good. Yeah.
But it makes me think like there's other people that don't.
Yeah.
And
They could be swindled out.
You have to understand what you're reading.
Yeah. And speaking of real estate, you're a real estate agent. So what company do you typically work for? Is it usually it's like on an agency, or are you an independent person?
Well, you are independent, but you work for a broker.
A broker, yeah.
Yes,
I know two real estate agents, and that's basically Stan and
okay, yeah.
Caesar. With the Duran Group.
Okay, yes.
And then that's the only real estate people that I really know.
Well, now you know me.
Now you know you. There you go. So which broker did you say you worked?
So I was with Keller Williams for about 6 years. What year is this now? And I just barely switched over to Kelly Wright. So, and just in the process of running for city council. So I'm very fresh
In the batch itself.
Yes. So yay, Kelly Wright.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing real estate?
I got my license in 2015.
So a while.
And
you've been selling houses left, right?
Well, I typically work with referrals, so people that
It's always like that.
I don't advertise at all. I just deal with people who might be having trouble getting approved for a house. And so I work more as a consultant with them directly until they close.
Oh, so you kind of know the process of somebody that has bad credit or so forth, and you kind of guide them through trying to get a house or so forth and see, where it basically kind of ends up.
Yep.
So it's kind of like if somebody has not that amazing credit, they typically hear a referral from you or for somebody else, and then hey, go talk to Tara, basically.
Yep.
And then you basically guide them through the process, and then you also try to sell them a house as well too in that process.
I work with them until they're pre-approved, and then when they're pre-approved with the lender, then we go into the home buying process, and I work with them all the way until they close
so it's like let me help you get pre-approved for a house, and then it's okay, this is how much the bank is saying how much you can afford. Then here are some houses that you can potentially buy. Let's go look at them.
Well, and sometimes people don't even understand you're not getting approved because of your debt ratios. So you might not have anything negative on your credit. You might be doing everything perfect, but it might come down to maxing a credit card out and then just paying it off. And your credit report does not see that. They just see the maxed out part. So it looks like you're not doing what you need to do. And in reality, it's a numbers game.
Yeah, you have to have your debt ratio in the correct zone to be able to go ahead and get pre-qualified for a house and so forth.
Yep.
Speaking of housing, houses are through the roof.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's a seller's market now. The thing is everybody can make more money on their house right now. But if they were to sell, they can't go somewhere else you know?
Yes.
So it's kind of like the dilemma. It's like, look at all this money that you could potentially make, but
You're
as soon
gonna
as
be
you do
homeless.
that, you're going to be homeless and you're going to be trying to fight for a house.
Yeah. And
So-
it really is like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of settled down a little bit, leveled off to where it's not quite such a frenzy. But
Yeah, like I think it was like almost to a point somebody could list a house, and then people are like, "I buy." You know, it's like,
Yep.
are we that desperate to buy a house at this point? Is that what's going on? It's like I don't understand where are we coming from this because it because of the population?
It's COVID. COVID did this.
COVID did this.
Twin Falls was already growing at a pretty rapid rate, like quicker than we were really anticipating. We hit our census forecast 2 years earlier than we even anticipated prior to COVID. And then COVID happened, and the states that were already moving in, which is not just California, but also Washington and Oregon, it was tenfold. So they were selling their houses to get out of the city because now they can work remotely. So they can move anywhere and they could take that money and then pay cash.
I see what's going
the
on
house.
here. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, and that's what happened. And so now, since things are kind of settling down a little bit with COVID and people have done that push to find the house that they want to live in now, that's kind of why it's settled down.
It's like settled down. Like that that rush is over pretty much, and then now it's like things are settling down. And I don't know if prices are gonna go down. I think the prices are still gonna keep going up.
I think they're going to maintain about where we are. Twin Falls is a little bit of we're in our own little bubble. So in the crash of 2008, when the rest of the country was going into foreclosure, we felt it a little bit.
Yeah.
Builders quit building, obviously. So that's kind of why we're in this population crunch now, because the housing building hasn't kept up with population. And then COVID hit and everybody was like, I want a house there in Idaho. It wasn't just us, it was Boise too.
Yeah.
Really anywhere. I mean, I've heard Burley also has
Burley.
had a population growth. So just
Filer,
Everywhere.
Pocatello, all these little cities are like, man, everybody wants to buy a house now. But like a few years ago, it wasn't like this. It's funny.
Well, and it's pushing locals out too, because now locals who have been here their entire lives are, they're looking for rentals, and 3 years ago, a rental that was $850 is now $1,800.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah.
And yet the wages haven't really kept up with
Yeah,
that.
that's the problem. It's like it's like the wages are not going up, but the houses and rent is going up. And so it's kind of like we're almost putting people in a position where they're a slave to the house. That's what I would call it, almost like, you know what I mean? Because like you gotta be working at this job, to just keep paying it. Otherwise, you're homeless.
Well, and because of the influx of people, that's what's caused rent to go up, because a lot of those people were staying in hotels until they could find a house. So as soon as they were able to get into a rental, they were like, I'll pay whatever I can.
The last person I talked to, Craig, he's like, he's saying something about like people are like pretty much booking hotels, and living out there till they find a place to live. That's the case. It's like, okay.
And that's why Airbnbs do so well in this area also, is because the hotels are always, we've had a problem with a hotel shortage anyway, which is crazy because you see hotels everywhere. But Twin Falls actually has a lot of events that go on that locals don't really know about, like state soccer and state tournaments that come in.
They fill up the hotels
easily, which is great for us. That's great for tourism.
Yeah, it's great for tourism. It helps, drive tourism up. When you bring events like that, what it does is it helps out the economy, because those people will eat somewhere, sleep. You're basically there. These people visiting, they're great to the community. The only thing that they add is to the traffic, A lot of times people get, but I don't know when they move in, they have like they don't like California money coming in, basically, is the main issue, is what I'm kind of seeing.
I think that's what a lot of people have an issue with. But, we all have to coexist. People have to live somewhere.
Yeah, let's all get along.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I guess, so you're thinking that the market is kind of going to maybe stay where it's at for a while.
Oh yeah, I mean, it might drop a little bit more, just to find that level place, because locals aren't going to be able to buy those houses. So eventually, now that we're still having people come in, but not quite at the rate that we did.
Yeah.
Those rates are going to have to balance off. Plus, when you get more inventory, that was also something that was contributing.
Yeah, like it was really low inventory at one point or something like that.
Well, nobody wanted to sell because they wouldn't be able to find a place to live.
Like, you want me to sell and then not have a place to live? Are you out of your mind?
These are people with mortgages of like $900, and they're like, if we sell,
yeah, it's like it's going to go through the roof.
$1,800 for rent? I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. So talking about housing itself, do you think the city council can go ahead and do anything? I've heard this idea pitched around about having affordable housing available, and that kind of makes it so, it looks at the average income in Twin Falls and develops houses and rent for that particular price range. So that way, we're putting, if this is what the average house, average income is, then this is what you should be able to go ahead and afford, essentially. Like, what would you try to do to help the housing account, the housing, I guess, if elected as city council?
That's a very good question. So there's a lot of things that I think would also benefit. Currently, the wages are now coming up in Twin Falls.
It's like, I think they're coming up because they're like, people are realizing people are not going to work for minimum wage. Why is the minimum wage?
When you can't afford anything anyway.
Who in their right mind can, why? This is a silly question. This minimum wage, I think, is like $7.25 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere right around there.
So, like, find me a house where I can go ahead and pay for the house at $7.25 an hour, okay,
and have more than one child,
and have a child. Yes. This $7.25 thing is a joke. We need to figure out something where. Because not even businesses will offer $7.25 or whatever the heck it is. You know what I mean? It's silly. It's like, let's bring this up. But the problem with that is then you're cutting into business profits. The business needs to stay afloat.
Well, in my opinion, I think that in order for a business to operate, I think that their employees should be their asset just as much as repainting a building or buying new signs. I mean, if you have a staff that is qualified and able to take care of your needs and appropriately, they should be taken care of at home also.
Yeah, I mean, they should be at least at a wage where they can go ahead and afford a house.
Or to keep their water on.
Or keep the water on, power on. And it's like, I would hate to have business. In my opinion, I don't like businesses that are just kind of keeping people at the bare minimum where they're barely making it. You know what I mean? At least try to get them. And this kind of goes back into kind of talking to their employees. It's like, hey, you have everything that you need, because even though the business owner might be making a profit, maybe they just don't know the other person's situation or so forth. You know what I mean? Maybe they're like, oh, maybe I do need to bump their wages. So that way they can go ahead and, live a little bit more comfortably, I guess.
Well, I think that the stimulus money that went out, just with the $500 extra that they sent out, or the amount that they send out for kids that they're doing now, I think that's actually contributing to why why people are having trouble finding employees that are good now, because just that little bit of a bump made people realize, why would I go work for minimum wage when I just needed a little bit of boost to be able to feed my kids, and now I get to spend more time with them versus finding a babysitter. Babysitters in Twin Falls are very expensive. I would say between $400 and $500 a kid.
Oh, wow.
And that depends on if the kid needs diapers, if
diaper
it's a diaper change. So the younger the kid, it's more expensive, but that little bit of a boost, I think, gave people a breather to be able to say, Maybe,
yeah, 'cause
maybe I should reevaluate what I'm doing so I'm home more with my kids, but I do have to make just a little bit more money.
Yeah.
And
We're kind of almost going back to that Andrew Yang guy for president where he was like, I'll
Yeah.
give everybody $2,000 a month. I was like, heck yeah, just throw it my way, you know?
but I definitely think there has to be some kind of a balance with that because now there is a shortage and businesses are closing early and but that can be made up just by bumping the wages up a little bit.
Yeah.
We're all going to end up paying for that in one way or another.
I also saw that like people were like, like I don't want free money. I want to work
Yeah.
for money. A lot of people are like they are rooted in this thing where it's kind of like I like if it takes me to work at $7.25 an hour, I will work my butt off. But I don't want the government to give me that money. I would rather work my butt off at $7.25 an hour for the rest of my life than actually taking the money from the government itself or something like that. I was actually hearing that from people. I was like, holy smokes! I'm like, holy,
Well, I think just giving them a livable wage
That's it.
will
That's
solve
the
the
solution.
problem.
Yeah.
in so
Let's
many
give
ways.
everybody a livable
And-
wage.
and just appreciating your employees.
Yeah.
I think the mentality, especially in Idaho, not everywhere, but a majority of the places that I worked
Yeah.
growing up and into my young adult years was, well, you're replaceable in one way or another. So you could be a very highly skilled person with lots of experience and have a 16-year-old in high school part-time worker come in and make just as much as you are. And you're like,
yeah.
but
It's
I
like-
have 10 years of experience.
It's like it almost seems like that doesn't matter anymore because it's like that used to be a high priority before, and they would get giant wages before, things like that. But now it's like it's like doing this, and it's like what? And then that's what's happening, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I see more money going into things that it's not that they don't matter. They're definitely things that a business needs to grow. Marketing,
Yeah.
across the board, there's lots of expenses.
Yeah.
But it seems like employers are more willing to put money forth on those things to grow their business instead of giving it to the employees so they feel appreciated and they're more willing to go above and beyond. They're
Yeah.
not like, well, I'm only here for $7 an hour
Yeah.
and I have to figure out how to keep my water on that's
Yeah,
going to be
good
shut
luck
off
with
today.
that. Yeah, I
So that stress level that they have is taking away from businesses being successful because if your employee's worried about how they're going to pay for their daycare or pick up a child who's sick or any of those type of things, it's going to directly impact a business and that will directly impact your customers because if you have a staff that's not qualified or worried about other things, your customers are going to feel that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly.
across the board,
So
it would make
basically,
more
what we
sense.
learned here is we need to get businesses to be like paying a livable wage in Twin Falls
Yes.
itself.
I
Otherwise,
would
what's going to
support
happen is like they're just going to have now hiring and they're going to hope for the best, basically.
Well, but also if it's not that I'm opposed to income-based housing at all, but I think that people grow more personally and financially if they have a goal to own a home and it's attainable.
Yeah.
If you have all these people who are in affordable housing and you just keep them below that threshold so that way you don't have to pay them more, but then that employee is taken care of in a different way. I don't think that benefits any of us, really. I think people get in a rut thinking, I'm taken care of, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But they're not striving for more because they know if they make that $5 extra, they're going to be kicked off of something that's benefiting their family in a real way, such as food stamps, Medicaid, across the board. If they make $5 too much,
Some people stay poor because they know that listen to this madness. Some people stay poor because they know if they get an increase of money, then they'll be kicked out of their low housing income, right? And where are they going to go? They cannot get the job where they're paying $1,800. So we have a system in place where we are basically saying stay poor.
Yep.
You know, it's like, what?
And we pay for that in taxes.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
we love it. Let's do it. It's like,
No.
what the heck are we doing?
People
you know?
who are paid more pay more in taxes just across the board because they make more money. That's just how the system's set up. So if there's some kind of tax break for employers to help relieve that burden of giving their employees more money across the board, we would all benefit from it.
I think there might be a problem where like these people that don't want to be poor and they want to transition to like you know, like I want to be something else, but there needs to be a way where they transition where they have a affordable house or affordable place.
Absolutely.
Even if, you know, like maybe it's levels, you know, like, you know, you're trying to like, okay, if you're here, then you're this one and this one, you kind of move up.
A sliding scale would
sliding
make
scale.
so much more sense.
Why hasn't
So
anybody
much more
thought
sense.
about a
I
freaking
have.
sliding
I
scale? What are we doing
Yes.
with our lives, people?
I have way too many friends and family that I know have worked really hard, and nobody wants to be poor. That's not something anybody strives for. And, you know, we all fall in a little bit of a trap that sometimes snowballs into something much bigger. And if you need food stamps or some sort of safety net for a short period of time, I think that you should be able to use that as not a hand out, but a hand up to get you to that next step, because nobody wants to stay there.
Yeah.
And if you feel like, okay, I can make a little bit more money, I could take on a couple of extra hours, but it's not going to actually put me poorer than I was by not working. People are going to do that. That's like you were saying, you know, they want to work. They want
they want to work.
Yes.
They're like, listen, I'll work and I'll you know, dig myself out of my own hole, but there needs to be some kind of structure where you're like boop it a boop, you know.
Don't set it up against me. And the sliding scale, I think, makes so much more sense. It doesn't make sense to me that you make the absolute
it's kind of like
lowest amount.
and then if you go over that, you're done. You're done. We're not. There is nothing. You're good luck trying to compete with these people that are trying to pay rent at $1,800. It's like, I was going from super poor. Then you want me to go to like $1,800? Are you out of your mind? That's impossible. You know,
the sliding scale would help middle class because it would close that gap, and middle class people don't want to be poor either. So
no, they want to scale. They want to scale up higher too.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. All right, cool. Let me get back to some of these questions. I feel like we just talked about like something random for like half an hour.
Hey,
like,
it was a good one though.
Yeah, like we're like trying to resolve like world peace here, like fix like the
We can
whole, you know, like we're fixing the entire Idaho like in this podcast right here.
That's where it starts, right?
Somebody has to, you know, my hope is always this. Somebody will see this video or so forth, and it'll give them a seed, you know, and then the seed will grow to whatever the heck is happening.
And it started with this podcast.
There you go. Exactly. It starts with this podcast. That's how all of this, it's like, that's why I was like, this is a great seeding, you know, like idea, you know, because who knows what I'm going to talk to other people or so forth, you know? So it's very interesting.
Well, and it's just a fun job to have anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so fun. Like I hit the jackpot. Like I get to do cool, fun stuff all the time.
Talk to different people
all day and stuff like that. And, you know, I work with lights. I make videos. I make, you know, all kinds of different stuff, you know. So let me get back to these questions that seem to me important. I wrote down these questions, and I have everybody in an Excel spreadsheet, right?
Okay.
Because I'm not like a logical person. It's like whoever says the most yes to this stuff gets my vote or so forth, you know. And I wanted to kind of also make sure people understand that if I don't ask questions, you know, like that doesn't pertain to them, the thing is they can ask you questions by going to City's website, and there's like your email address. What's your email address in case they're like, I'm too bored to do that.
It's
too lazy.
Tara, Tara, Marie, Marie, Rueda, Rueda at
This is
Gmail.
a giant
gmail.com.
at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Like nobody's like, okay, well, I'll just go to the website. Just type in Twin Falls candidates, and then it's right there itself. Copy paste.
Yep.
You know. All right. So yeah. So any questions that people might have, they can just literally shoot you an email. Everybody has email, you know,
Yes.
and I'm hoping that there's a big turnout of people coming out and voting and so forth.
Me too.
And hopefully they get educated about all of the candidates and all of the options that they have to choose from. So yeah, so basically these were the questions that I wrote down that kind of were important to me, I guess. So the first one was the graffiti, and I think I already resolved that by talking to so many people. And what I learned was anytime graffiti is reported, it can go to a city ordinance. It could be filed as a city ordinance violation, and then it'll just get fixed.
Oh,
Isn't that interesting?
nice.
Yeah, so I'm like, interesting. And I have an app that basically where I encouraged everybody to take a graffiti where the graffiti was at, you know?
Oh, okay.
So with one sweep, I could just fix, you know,
all the graffiti.
all the graffiti.
I'm
Just
so happy to hear
bam,
that.
Look at that.
Oh,
Just-
there's like nothing more infuriating either. 'Cause
yeah, people hate
see it.
seeing the graffiti. The only thing that I don't have figured out yet is like because like it's different. It's different. Graffiti can be on private property, it could be on city property, or it could be on state property, right? I understand where it goes for city and private, but I don't understand where it goes for state. So it's got to be like a different email or something like that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because like bridges and stuff like that, the city doesn't own that. So if somebody like spray paints a bridge or something like that, city's like, not
my
our problem.
problem.
How are we not proactive?
I don't know. We need to be. When I heard about the pool, I was like, why?
What about the pool?
So the bubble.
Oh
over
yeah, the bubble.
pool
Yeah, the bubble.
got
I haven't been to the
sliced
pool.
up, and I just
Like there's a cut in
no,
it.
like they put a huge hole in it. This was just a few weeks ago too.
What do you mean they put a giant hole in it?
They cut a big hole in the bubble
did?
and then put slices in it. I'm not sure. It was vandalism, but
Oh, this is gonna cost the city a lot of money.
you would have to be completely. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know how one day you're like, let's break into the pool and just cut a huge hole in it.
Oh my god! Yeah, it's gonna be a giant cost to repair.
I don't understand.
Somebody's gonna be like, "Damn it! I gotta repair this now."
Oh,
Yeah.
the guy walking in first thing in the morning was like, "Oh, today's not going to be a great day."
I think we needed more cameras on some of these places to go ahead and catch these little hooligans. I think it's the little hooligans that are causing it.
I
you know?
agree. I think that some public places definitely can deter a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And you would think the pool would have cameras.
Yeah, like, good luck with that. Like it's like cameras. What are cameras? Like when did they get invented? You know? Like,
I think it would save us a lot of heartache at
yeah.
least.
I mean, like if we have a problem and it's constantly happening there, I mean, like nobody has thought like maybe we should put a camera there, like pointed at there, and then like,
Yeah.
because like the thing is like typically like what happens is like they get publicly shamed, and if it happens, and then it's like you don't want to be that person.
The public shaming, the Target pictures that come through every once in a while, they're like, we're looking for this person, and it's just the person walking out of Target. And you're like, oh, don't want to ever be that guy.
Yeah, that deters you from ever stealing.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
For real.
Times News was for the longest time deterring, like making criminals look horrible. They would take their mug shots.
Oh, no.
And it would be like, hey, check out these people, like this is what they did, like
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, they were like, but it almost kind of feels like they were almost like bullies, but then it was like this is like
but it's kind of what we need.
it works.
It
like,
does.
Yeah, like the reason people don't want to do bad stuff is because they don't want to be publicly shamed. Like
True.
imagine like people coming up to you like, hey, I saw you did that.
Or just knowing they
Or
know.
knowing, yeah. embarrassing, you
So
know?
bad. It's like the app that they had with people who were arrested the day before. I don't know if you saw
I
that.
don't know. I didn't see
But
that.
they got rid of the mugshot off of it. So all of my friends are like, yeah, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
It kept you from ever wanting to be on that app because you knew everybody watched it. Everybody looked, you know?
Yeah. People like to be like, I can't believe Billy did this or something like that.
I knew he had it in him.
I knew he was gonna do that. You know, it's like we're literally public shaming people or so forth. You know,
Maybe that really is all we need.
I don't know if I don't know if that's a good idea, because then we're almost kind of like empowering the
Yeah.
Times News and
That's
KVT to go ahead and be like, who are we gonna publicly shame today? No,
Today's
no,
been
no,
a
no,
slow
no.
day.
Like you're like, who's on the chopping block today? No, I don't like that idea.
That might not work.
Yeah, so it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start public shaming you. You know, it's gonna be like a crazy battle like that. You know, but yeah, so interesting. I forgot what we were talking about. It was, we were talking about the graffiti and the hooligans. Yeah, hilarious.
Hooligans. Their shenanigans.
The little hooligans. Let's point some cameras where the common problems happen. You know what I mean? Even put a fake camera. You know what I mean?
you know,
Like,
those work.
those freaking work.
They do it with the little red light.
Yeah,
You're
like
is it real?
put an LED blinking.
watching
Yeah,
me?
like are they watching? Like I saw the funniest one. It was like straight into a tree, you know, and I was like, "There's no way you can run power in that. Like that's so silly." Like,
But there might be.
well, there might be somebody like there's a camera there on that tree. It's like, how is that plugged in? You know.
I don't want to find out.
Yeah, they just put a battery in there. Jeez, it's so crazy. Yeah, that'll be hilarious. I think, yeah, I would be open to like problematic problems. Put something there. You know what I mean? Like if we want to weed out the bad people that are causing these problems itself. But the other thing is like you want to go ahead and give them an outlet to do something fun.
Yes.
They are doing this because they're bored, they have nothing to do, they just basically go out there and do this. So it's like, do you have any ideas of something that city might need to go ahead and give people an outlet that are doing these bad things?
Oh man,
That's a good question.
It's a great question. There's
Yeah,
so many things. I personally, I love the movies in the park that they do, but they only do it once a month and only during the summer.
Yeah.
And it's only one park.
Yeah.
So it would make sense if different parks around town had different events going on that made it easy for walking and biking to those events, like Halloween. Why don't we have like a Halloween movie marathon in the park?
Oh,
like, you know, for a whole weekend or something.
You know who does a really good job of doing stuff? Rupert. I mean, like they freaking are killing us.
They
you know,
do.
that's
Wood River does too. Like they have a fantastic mass transit system. I don't know if you've ever been up there and seen it.
Yeah.
But it's built around their small community. So it doesn't feel like a bus. Your kids can get on, take it
I
to
was
school.
just blown away how much the Rupert community is like it's like a tight knit thing. It's like I feel like there's a tighter knit community over there. And again, I think even Twin Falls should take some of their like some stuff that they're doing and like, hey, let's try to do it here as well. So
Yeah.
kind of look at good models that are already working and then try to implement it into the city itself. So what else are you thinking that might be good outlet?
Oh, I would love to see more food trucks and like vendor
When-
events.
like
there's food trucks in town, but you really don't know where they are. You can't find them more than once. You know, it's like
I think in big cities they put them all in one spot.
Yeah, I would love
would be
something
so-
like that, like a park that's
give them
dedicated.
a space where they can all be there, and then that way
Yep.
it's almost kind of like a food hall that you go over there,
Yes.
like, oh, I want this, I want that, and
Yep.
so forth. That's a great idea.
But then you're
Big
sitting
cities do it.
outside. Yeah, I know, and that's something I would love to see happen here.
That's
also,
a great idea. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, I would like it to be in like a park setting, but also have like movies at night, and then have the vendors set up on the outside, so you go and watch the movies and shop at the vendors or get your food from your food truck and
Gotcha.
you know. But it'd be a
That's
more
a really great idea. I like
consistent
that
thing.
That would definitely make everybody happy and have more options to go eat at or so forth. And I don't know exactly what it would take to make that happen, but it's interesting.
Like
idea.
farmers markets, you know, have like a farmer booth set up with. We have fruit from all over the valley. I mean, it needs to be. We need to like embrace it, you know.
Yeah. I was a big this was something I've been throwing out. It's like we need an event center, like a giant stage. We can bring in musicians. Have like I was at this thing in Boise. They had this Life in Color, and it's like they play all this cool music, and then people are getting they give you like these bottles of paint, and you're just like throwing it around on people, and then like there's a guy on the stage. He's like hosing everybody with paint. You would think like it's nuts, but it's so cool.
Oh no, like I've seen it's like a giant slip and slide that like takes up the whole road and it's like inflated. And I think
we need to do
down
more.
Main Street would just be so fun. You know?
Like oh my God, that's a great idea too. See, I feel like you're more kind of like an idea person. You like all of these ideas. It's like, but I don't know how much city council has like control of that. I mean, they can try to spark it, but it really kind of comes down to like businesses need to go ahead and do this. So it has to be kind of like we have to attract businesses that says, hey, I want to bring this giant slip and slide into downtown. It's like somebody take these ideas. Come on, people. You know.
Well, I know Tony Prater does a good job with. He does the concerts on Wednesdays. He organizes those. And I think he uses a lot of the downtown businesses to pull that together too. And it really does just take like, a couple of people who are like, let's bring this to town.
Let's make this happen.
And city council can approve those type of permits because it is an event and things like that. So I do think that they have some sort of say in what
leverage,
comes.
I guess. Some things that get approved or so forth. This was what I was kind of thinking is like, so like in Boise, they just have an outdoor one. They could put like 10,000 people here, which is...
Well, I always thought it'd be good to put something like that. Have you ever been to the Gorge in Washington?
The Gorge?
It's basically like that, but it's a concert arena. It's not even an arena. Like where you sit is grassy knolls, and they're in like steps, and then you look out over the canyon.
Oh,
so you look out over this beautiful gorge, and I always thought that the canyon would be a great place to have something like that.
That would be interesting.
They have people like Tom Petty and Dave Matthews Band goes to
those
that
things.
venue.
I was like, well, it'll be a very easy, convenient place, and I was like, put it at the soccer complex. You just take a little chunk. This is all the property there. You can just dump it there. Call it a day.
You could. There is quite a bit of space.
There's some space where it can be found, and again, it doesn't have to be there. It could be anywhere. And I just kind of want people to be on board. So you do like the idea of having an outdoor event center for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
If it's in the right spot, basically.
Yes,
right?
yes.
It's got to be. A good spot.
Yeah, it definitely has location, right?
Yeah, I mean canyon. We do have some because the thing is like the city cannot place it everywhere. The city has a limited amount of properties.
Yeah.
So it can only live at a few different locations. So I would almost kind of say like, look at all your options, determine which one is the best. And then have this. I mean, like I'm pretty sure everybody that I've talked to, they all seem like they all want it. It's been in the comprehensive plan for like years and stuff like that. People want to have like giant concerts here. So it's kind of comes down to like, look at the options, figure out which one's the best, where to place it, and then open it up for a bid for some business. Like, hey, who wants to bring this here?
Twin Falls actually is a hub for about 250,000 people. We have almost 100,000 people that come in town just during the week every day. So
I was just talking to somebody.
Insane.
So the population is 51 or 52,000 or whatever it is, right? The census is still kind of coming in or something like that. I don't know what he was. I need to double check on that. But midday, 100,000 people. Right? 100,000 people are in Twin Falls. I'm pretty sure some of them, probably like, some famous artist is coming in. I want to go check this out.
Well, look at Jackpot. Jackpot has concerts with, B-list celebrities at this point, 80s rock bands and things like that.
Yep.
And they sell out all the time. So
put them in this 10,000 venue location is my kind of thinking. Definitely like that idea about that for sure. And again, it would be kind of like, let's look at the best options where we can place it.
Absolutely. Where it makes the most sense.
Yeah. Is there anything else that pops into your mind that you're like, this would make the city so much more fun and, give people an outlet to go ahead and do stuff? Because I feel like you're like an idea person.
I have, all my passion is to start a glass recycling company in Twin.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, oh no, that's not feasible. But the way I think we should do it would benefit the community as a large. So we wouldn't ship it out. We would grind it down into byproducts.
So glass, recycled
like
glass,
glass.
not grass.
Yeah. So there's actually a thing called glass fault, which is asphalt that uses
Glass?
a glass mixture instead of rocks. So you could do a mixture of that in everything. Fix your potholes.
Fix your potholes with the glass.
Yes. You can make benches, giant planters. You can make pavers. You can
you're
do
liking
everything
the
with
idea.
it.
You're liking the idea. This is nuts. This is not a good thing because like I'm an idea person and you're an idea person. We're gonna be like here throwing ideas at each other for like hours here. This is not good, Yeah, I mean, you liking the idea of like, let's take the stuff that we are currently recycling and reuse it and maybe
Yes.
potentially even use it in the city itself.
Use it everywhere in the city. You can make it into beach rock within just a few days of just grinding it with the facilities we already have.
Yeah, because what are we typically recycling? We're recycling the aluminum, cardboard, and
paper, maybe.
glass. Well, paper is cardboard kind of deal.
Well, they're actually separate. I mean, you would recycle the cardboard with other cardboard. I do believe the prices are about the same, but you can actually take plastic and make bricks out of it that are stronger than concrete bricks. So you can make houses with that
what
material.
do we do with the stuff right now? We just ship it off or something and we get some money
I
or
think
something?
that's what they do. I think they ship it off and now nobody will take those materials because it's actually cheaper to use new material. But I want to get rid of the old material and just reuse it, but not the whole way that we recycle in general across the board doesn't make any sense. Why would we take something, put it in a truck, ship it, hours to another state and have them process it? It doesn't make sense to me.
I was trying to figure out where does the trash even go,
they throw most of it away anyway.
Yeah, it's somewhere your stuff that whatever it is, is somewhere in a landfill. I was like, where does this trash exactly go? But the thing is, like, the way I understand it is like it goes to transfer stations.
Oh, yeah.
And then the transfer stations then take it out somewhere far away out of our sight.
Well,
it's
in
kind of like out of
Twin,
sight, out of mind.
That's exactly what happens. So in Twin, you take it to the transfer station and then the transfer station takes it way out of town. Like, I want to say past the airport. So,
is there a landfill past the airport?
There is.
Are you sure? There's
I'm
no
positive.
way. I need to go look at this.
Yeah, it's literally in the middle of nowhere. You'll see like
I
a
need
gate.
to find out where this
You're like,
landfill is. I'm like,
"That's the
this is
landfill?"
all of your guys' stuff.
And that would actually help with the housing problem because there is a way to make them into bricks that are like Legos that you can build houses out of that are more than adequate housing. So that's something.
Definitely, that's not our process right now. Because like the thing is like the way now it works is like a builder comes in and it's like it goes to the planning and zoning is what it looks like, and then they propose a project, goes to planning and zoning, and then even buy land sometimes like pending zoning decisions too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever deal with real estate developers like so they build like multiple houses in a complex or anything like that. Do you ever deal with those people?
No, I typically deal with them after when the land is for sale. Like it's already been developed.
Oh, it's developed, and then you're selling the house essentially,
or the land, to build on the house or build the house with. But I think that innovation is what we should be focusing on, and there's definitely better ways to do things that we need that make way more sense than what we're doing now. I think the answer is really not as complicated as people think, and they start running numbers of a process that we shouldn't be doing in the first place. And so, but when you start crunching numbers on making byproducts out of our waste, essentially, there's so much you can do. I mean,
reuse the waste and repurpose it. Basically,
the glass broken down can be broken down into a powder, which actually makes it stronger in concrete. So
it almost kind of seems like what we should be, because again, you like being in city council, you wouldn't be able. The only thing you'll be able to go ahead and do is try to encourage companies that deal with recycling to look into moving to Twin Falls and then taking our trash into converting it into usable products.
There's already
or so forth.
businesses that are in place in Twin Falls. There's a lot of different concrete companies that can process the glass with what the materials they already have.
Yeah.
It would just be a matter of using the resources and the companies that we already have.
The thing is with that is like that's a risk for them. So they're like, we don't want to mess anything up with what the currently we're doing. So it's kind of like their mindset is,
Well,
we're already doing it this way. Why would we change something?
Yeah.
You know, that's
How everything is.
Yeah, it's
know?
like people don't like change. You know,
Yeah.
like pushing people to a change is like you cannot just be like you just do this, and it's like it has to be gradual like this.
I think making those partnerships and having the city be a partner with those companies as a contractor type situation to where we contract with them to process, and they have the equipment that they need. So then we would buy it from them in terms of breaking our glass down to put in roads. So we would buy that product from them just like we would buy any other product from them to redo the roads. And they actually use it in a lot of different other cities. It is being done. It's actually stronger than regular asphalt too. So
I really like the idea of like our city talking to other cities, like what's working for you guys, like what has been a great success. And I don't know if the city's currently doing that. I feel like it's almost kind of like they're in their bubble. And it's like, why are you trying to reinvent the wheel when somebody has already went through the whole crazy process of figuring out what works and so forth?
Yep.
So I think as city council members, all of them should be reaching out to different cities and asking them, hey, what works? And have them be proactive and kind of tell, fill in the existing staff and so forth, saying like, hey, this city is doing this and they're saying it's amazing, maybe we should look at this as an option doing it versus just keeping the quote as is.
Yeah, I agree because the city does do the recycling program in terms of, this isn't profitable anymore. But if we took the money from those byproducts of our waste, we can then put that money back into our city. So like you were talking about earlier, the light show and how it takes more money, paying for things like that are for the whole community as a large, and adding to tourism and adding to that type of stuff that are going to bring people in, which is going to bring in more people that want to live here because that's really what's happening.
Yeah, it's kind of like you want to make the city attractive. It's kind of like, it's like, hey, but the thing is you also want to make sure that the city growth can take on the growth as well too. So that way, I was talking to the planning and zoning guy. He's like, well, you don't want to build too many houses where the city cannot take there's no infrastructure ready to, take on more houses or so forth. It kind of really comes down to me like logically is like how many houses can we build and things like that, Yeah.
Well, and farmland is so important to protect in this area anyway, because without it, the only reason we're in that little bubble, like I was talking about with 2008, is because we are in this little ag bubble, ag and dairy. And if we start cutting into that ag land, which I think I read somewhere we're losing 400 acres of farmland a day. And I don't think that's just in our valley. I think that's in general, which is a lot if you really think about it.
We're expanding out. We're killing off this ag stuff. So maybe your corn might be more expensive. Maybe your milk is more expensive.
Yeah. And being smart with that land, the city could realistically buy a plot of land and have schools grow things on that land, just like they would learning the farm business in general, and then business, and turn around and sell that back to the community in a way that we have this centered around schools and learning farm to table techniques.
I don't know if the city buys any property at all.
The city can buy land.
I know that they get land donated, but typically, like, I don't know if they ever buy land to go ahead and use it for a specific project or so forth, it usually, to me, it seems like, based off of what I'm looking at, and just, again, I might just not be educated on this. I think the way I typically see it is a builder looks at a plot of land and then says, I'll buy this and do this with it itself. So we're, again, not proactive. We are basically just waiting for the builders to tell us what to do or what they're gonna do, essentially. So it kind of looks, it seems like that.
Well, there's actually grant money that they can use for different things like parks and things like that.
Yeah, like
So-
they allocate a certain amount of, so every year they're working on the budget, and then it doesn't work for the next year. It's 2022. So for example, if you got on the city council, you would be working on 2022 budget, and then it's like, here's the budget. How do we allocate this, essentially?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then-
exactly.
And then I don't know if there's room for things like that, because I think the way that the budget is currently structured, it's going to be the same year after year after year.
We just have to get
It's like
smarter with what we're doing.
it's almost kind of like, let's wipe the budget, and it's like start fresh. You
Yeah,
know?
I think you're right. I think that we get in that rut where we're like, well, this is how we've always done it. There's no other way to do it, which is actually what I've heard from a lot of the people in leadership, like, oh, no, that's not possible. And I'm like, but it is possible. It is happening.
Yeah.
There are other places that it's very successful,
Yeah.
things that I've talked to them about.
It's
So-
like redo the whole budget from scratch. It's like
I think they just
it's
get
like-
comfortable
it's
in a
so
lot of
easy.
ways.
You know, the thing is, it's so easy to just like copy,
Yeah.
paste.
Especially
All right,
Excel
we'll change this
sheets.
number. We got
Yeah.
a little bit more money. We'll just bump this up to like 3 now, and let's number here. But again, this is like, you and I are talking extreme stuff. Like nobody wants this that is currently there, because it requires them to do more work. It's like, you want me to start from scratch? You're out of your mind. It took us
Or
like
do
20
the
years.
research,
Yeah.
do the research to.
I would love to
do
play a
that.
game where we just basically like, okay, let's redo the budget from scratch. And it's like, okay, this is all everybody's salary. That's how much money's gone. There you go. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Then, okay, how much do we really need? What's the next thing that we actually need? Like, for sure that we cannot, these are like, kind of think about it like, like your house stuff, right? Like you got to pay electricity. You got to, if you want internet, you got to pay this, so this is
Yeah.
how much the cost is, how much are that, bada bing, and it's like, what is that number that we are really truly playing with, And if you look at that budget itself, which is like hundreds of pages, like a couple hundred pages,
Yeah.
I could not remotely even tell you. I don't know if anybody in this whole city could say, like, after all of the wages and everything like that and expenses is paid, this is the pool of money that we have to play with.
Well, I think that's true with any budget when you're dealing with, politics in general. There's thousands of pages they'll hand you, and
Yeah,
they
look.
know you're not going to look.
They know they're
but
not
then
gonna
when
look.
you start like digging down, you're like, but what is this account? Oh, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But what is this account? Oh, don't worry about that. That's for,
Do you think-
emergency spending. And
Do
you're
you
like,
think
okay.
we should make it so that the city's budget is easily accessible and everybody can be on board, where we can kind of
Absolutely.
see where every penny is
think-
basically spent?
I think everything should be a lot easier to find. I personally have found that you have to really dig really deep to
Yeah.
get to the truth to where money is going and who's benefiting from that money. And
Yeah.
I don't think it should be like that. I think it should be
yeah,
transparent.
It's like but the thing is, like, then we have to kind of make sure that, well, part of that is like, one, making sure we elect city council people that are gonna be very transparent and make this accessible to people.
Yes.
And then even down the road, like, because there's like a chain of command, basically. If there is resistance, then we need to figure out solutions. Basically, it's like the 7 people that are in city council represent me, and it's like I'm basically hoping that these 7 people do what is right and what's necessary to do for the whole community itself.
Without their own agenda in mind, without their own
it
biases.
feels like everybody has an agenda, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's like impossible to come into office and not have an agenda, I feel like, because people elect you because you want to accomplish something. So sometimes people will back these people up to do the, like the thing that they want to get done. So
yeah, I think money in politics is probably the problem when you're dealing with that. If you're just like you personally, if you wanted to support somebody, you could never keep up with somebody else who has deep pockets because that person can give this other guy all this money,
Yeah,
and then you
it's
but the person will do a good job is just over here, and you're like, but this person will actually get it done versus this person who's just getting money thrown at them. And I think across the board, that's a huge problem that we have.
Yeah.
Not just in Twin Falls. I don't personally
Just like,
know, but
just in general for the whole
the way the
state,
system is set up.
The way the system is set up. We allowed this to happen.
We did.
Every time I say something like if you don't like something, you can change it, and you change it by voting. The people that are doing that, you put the people that need to do something different in office.
But then we shoot ourselves in the foot with that also, because we have this 2-party system that only
it's like you're in this group
one
or this group.
One. And so
oh my God, I hate it.
I hate it too, actually. That is
you're either this way or you're this way.
I'm actually way more independent, and that all happened after 2016 and just really paying attention to everything that's going on. But I have voted left-leaning most of my life up until 2016, and then I started realizing we're just fighting over the same bird. And that's really what it comes down to. And then we are, terrible to each other when you have a third party person and you're like, oh, but you can't vote for that person because you're going to split the vote and we're going to end up with this other person we don't like. And that whole idea that our vote should go to whoever else thinks that we should send it to is bizarre to me.
This whole, I'm going to vote however my party votes is the silliest thing I've ever heard in my life. Well, I don't know anything about this person, but I know they're Democrat or Republic, so I'm this, so I will go just vote like this.
Yeah.
No. That's it's like you need to see where they stand, ask them questions.
Absolutely.
If people were just sometimes I will email people like politicians and stuff like that, and they will just refuse to answer a question. Immediate.
Because they think that they're better than you in some way. I don't.
Yeah,
have to
well,
waste
I mean,
my
like
time,
at least being, I'd rather have somebody that's gonna give me a straight answer or so forth.
Even if you don't like it.
Even if I don't like it, it's fine. Like you can tell me, no, I don't think that's a good idea, and it's like great. But I think everybody needs to know that because like people will just assume you're for that itself.
Yeah. Well, it's the seed. You just telling them, hey, this is what I think, even if they're like, no, it's a bad idea. Later on, they might start thinking about it. And be like, oh, actually,
this is actually, not that bad of an idea.
Who was that guy that told me that?
yeah, exactly. It's like, it's all about planting seed in people's minds almost, like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, and again, I like what you're saying is like, what you're basically saying is like, I will bring ideas, and I don't know, like, again, like the thing is like, it's tough to pull off ideas and so forth, right? Because bottom line, like money makes things happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't just like, you might have an idea that's so great, but the bottom line is money buys things, and that's how you have that stuff itself. I think we almost kind of need to look at the money again and be like, okay, but with this money.
Oh, absolutely. That should always be a thing. And resources, sometimes it takes just knowing the right people in terms of how can we make this work? Like, there's tons of grant money out there. There's lots of ways that there are available to bring people together in a way that wasn't ever thought of before, because that's the only way we're going to move forward. That's the only way we're going to change anything. The way that things are going now, I don't know about you, but I think a majority of us aren't happy overall. And the only way that we're going to get away from that, is to stop electing people that are one track mind, thinking this is how we've always done it. This is how we're always going to do it as long as I'm in this position,
Yeah.
And
it's so much easier for them. That's what they're thinking. It's so much easier to do this much work,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's definite. It's like we almost kind of like need a new direction. It's like let's wipe the plate clean and look at this as a group of people, like what we should do. Like this is
As a democracy.
yeah. Let's have a real democracy here,
where your say matters and the free market.
Let's have a
is
real
protected
democracy.
with
It's like, but oh no, we
mom
already
and pops,
have it. Well, again, this is what I'm trying. This is very interesting because like I'm bringing attention to people's like your guys' candidacy. You know what I mean? Like this is who they are. This is what they want to do, and so forth. And I feel like I just need to let more people know about this. Essentially, ideally, views. If the majority of population just, I'm like, this is almost kind of like a marathon. How many people I've talked to, The thing is, like, they're not gonna watch all of this stuff. So maybe some people might even like look to me to say, who do you think is the best person after I've talked to everybody or so forth? And I think I might even say like, okay, I've talked to everybody. Spent 8 hours, talking, this is, but again, I don't know if I should do something like that. It's kind of like, I want them to also see for themselves who the best candidate is. And I want them to ask questions to you guys too.
Well, and I think that makes your position a really valuable one, to be neutral and be like, here's everybody.
Yeah.
You make that decision for yourself. I've made that my decision for myself, and I think that you have a really important platform, and I appreciate you doing this for us.
Yeah. And I think Times News, KMVT, like all of our news resources should be just constantly talking to you guys, seeing where you guys are at, and have the whole community as a whole. All eyes should be on you guys right now, figuring out who the best person is, basically, is the way I think about it.
Yeah, I agree. 2 seats up is
2 seats.
crazy.
Well, we don't even get to vote on the 3rd seat, and I think maybe people didn't even like, what made you choose this particular seat versus running against
I just knew 2 were open. I didn't know if I'd be running against anybody or anything like that.
Well, 3 were open. So 3 were open.
Oh, I only knew of the 2, though. I didn't know about the 3rd one. I knew of 1 and 5 were open.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, well, I'll go for 1, but I didn't know who I'd be.
There was another
running
one. Yeah,
against,
There's I knew there was 3, but I didn't put my 2 cents in. I just wanted to talk to people and see who the best candidate is. Maybe there will be 4 years down the road or whatever, round 2. If shit's not getting done, I'm gonna have to
follow
do this.
up.
I'm gonna have to do this like Avenger things where that Thanos guy is like, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
That's where we're running. That's where we're heading towards, people. I'll do it myself.
That's kind of how it has be, though.
Yeah.
It's our turn. It's our age group that's like now coming
I'll
to.
do it myself. I'll put the gauntlet on.
Yeah, we're supposed to be taking the torch, and this is your spot.
Yeah. I just like trying to educate people with these are the current existing best options. All right, and is there what else are you doing to try to campaign, I guess?
I have signs out, talking to people one-on-one.
Is there another event coming up or anything like that?
I don't think so. I
That's
think
it?
I was invited. If there
You're
is.
like I wasn't invited. What do you mean you weren't
hope
invited? Like you're running for city can like I know CSI and that one church.
Yeah, I did those 2.
You did those 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Geez, this is not good. Like, we need all eyes on this right now.
Tuesday's coming fast.
Because this determines who we're going to be, who's going to represent us for 4 years?
Yeah.
You know? So
It's crazy. And just to be able to know who's out there, like I was saying, I'm running against a few
you got some
really good people.
you got some really good people. Very tough pool of candidates that you got to run against. And again, it really for me, it kind of comes down to is like who resonates with me the most, and also who do I think will be able to do what I want them to do? That's kind of like aligns with me or so forth. So in my mind, it's kind of like I'm looking for like obviously graffiti removal. I'm looking for somebody that will look into fixing, like the parks, maybe make the dog park better or something like that.
Yes.
I'm a big component. I don't know if you have any pets.
Yes, I have 2 dogs, and I actually live a couple of blocks from the dog park.
Yeah,
so.
I was like, we need a shelter. Like,
that would be. I think more trees in that park.
yeah, maybe look. They have like these trees, and it's like they drop stuff, and the dogs eat it, and some of them get sick. And so basically, the thing is like wrong trees were planted there from the get-go, and now like. This stuff fall. I'm not sure. There's giant holes, right, of puddles.
Dogs.
So then, what happens is like the way the ground is leveled, like it makes giant water spots, and then what happens is your dog will run around that, and then it's like rolling around, and like
then
I gotta
get in the car.
Get in the car. I'm like hosing my dog right at home. I'm like, okay, stop moving,
Oh no.
It's like I literally have like I've sent videos to like people even in that run the dog park and so forth. I'm like, hey, look at my dog. Like can we do anything here? Level it out. Put some freaking ground or something. It would be amazing. So I'm looking for somebody that like wants to not only look at that park but maybe look at other parks.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few parks. Well, I live by Harry Berry Park too, so which is just like a block down the street from the dog park, and it's such a cute park, and I feel like it's missing something, and I'm not sure what it is, but I agree. There's like all the parks are beautiful around town, lots of different parks, but it's almost like they need that thing that makes them unique.
I've been also dabbling in the idea, maybe I make an app where now I can just make it so people report a pothole, maybe report where the bad streets are, like, look at this madness here. So that way the city is getting that data. Maybe you see something at the park and you just take a photo. You make it so easy and convenient for people to show, hey, here's some of the problems. Let's work on fixing something like that. Would you be open to something like that?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that
it's like a dating app or something.
It would be cost effective because we had a pothole. Well, they dug up the street for a plumbing issue, and then didn't fill it in all the way. So every time you'd hit it, it was like bang, But then like a few months went by, and they were filling in all the little tiny holes along the sides of the road, but it completely ignored that.
What about this one? Yeah, so imagine you had an app, right? Imagine you had an app, you could click, and then you just put a note like, hey, I think you need to fill this one as well, and then you're done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think something easy and convenient for people, like reporting problems, would be amazing. I would love to see what the community as a whole would just report. Like, look at this.
The data collected.
Imagine the data collected of that.
Yeah, I
we would
agree.
be as a city a much better standing position.
More
and it's
efficient.
so easy to build that. You would think it's like, well, we don't have the technology to do that. No, we can do this.
In 2021, we've overcome many things.
Yeah, we can do this. It's easy. Let's do it. Basically, that was another one. The event center, obviously, I like that.
Yep.
And this is a crazy one. This is more like a silly one. I'm kind of neutral on this, and it's like having some kind of system to get to the bottom of Shoshone Falls to drive more revenue for the city, right? Like I was thinking, like maybe we put like a gondola, like Sun Valley has like those light lifts you get in. You could have like 80-year-old grandmas going to the bottom of Shoshone Falls and have her mind be blown.
Well, I always thought a walking bridge across the canyon would be good,
liability.
Or
the
like
thing
that.
is, like you need it. It needs to be it's like insurance will take it on. It cannot be stairs because stairs are too.
I mean, a walking bridge that's like along the Pine Bridge, so separate from it, because the only way you can walk across it now, and I don't know, that might not be a city issue at all, but yeah, so like make a walking bridge next to it, completely a separate walking bridge. Like they have one at the Grand Canyon that goes out quite a ways. I think we could definitely do it across the canyon as a whole, but just from the visitor center across, I don't know if you've ever walked across the Pine Bridge.
Oh
it's
my God, it's
scary.
It's so scary. It's like things are shaking, and
You're
it's
like,
like
oh, that truck's
people
so
that
close.
are afraid of heights, they dare not step on that bridge itself. I actually jumped off the bridge. I did the whole base jumping thing with a tandem base.
Okay.
What a rush. What a rush.
Yeah, I always thought I should probably do that because, I live here.
I was like, it's on my bucket list. I'm just going to do it. So I just basically, one guy that we were helping out, his name is David, and David Helton. And I was like, he's like, I'll take you. And I was like, perfect. And then I just got strapped up. And then I did it so fast that I almost didn't allow myself to think about it too much, because I don't know if you ever jumped off of high heights. It's like the longer you stay up there,
the worse it is.
Then you don't want to do it.
No,
you know
cliffs,
what I mean?
Cliffs at Durkee's. I don't know.
yeah.
It's terrible, especially if you're with friends and they just jump off and you're like,
I can't
no.
do this. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I guess again, lost train of thought. What the heck were we talking about? Where was I
we
going
were talking
with
about
this?
potholes.
Oh yeah, making it easy, convenient for everybody, and then you were saying the bridge and how the bridge would be like a walking bridge. Or
but that would definitely be more like a private funded
I
thing,
don't know.
for sure.
Like making a bridge is, you have to understand, it's like millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I saw recently that they had this airplane that takes people from here to Denver or something like that.
Oh yeah, at the airport, the Twin Falls Airport.
I think that's no longer an option. Like, did you not see the news? That like all the news were like saying like they're getting rid of a flight or something like that.
Oh yeah, no, I did see that. So it's just one flight a day now.
Or is it just one flight in total? Yeah, I didn't really read the article. I thought they were getting rid of it or something like that.
No, I think they scaled it back, and I don't know if it's because of COVID or winter.
So they're just like, we're just doing one.
Yeah,
I had this. As soon as I saw this, I was like, well, how much does a plane cost? I was like, can we buy a plane? Imagine Twin Falls as a community buys a plane for like $93 million. And then we get to decide where it goes. Like this year, we're going to Denver. Next year, we're going to Arizona, Let's make a bond on this, vote it in. That would be amazing. Oh, you guys want to go to Vegas? Well,
we used to have a plane that went to Vegas. We used to have flights, and
people love that. It was like $100 or something like that.
I think round trip. Yeah, it was like
$100 to get to Vegas and so forth. Who doesn't want that?
I know. I don't think they were busy
enough. What do you mean? People love going to Vegas.
I don't think they booked enough flights. I think that's
why we need our plane. Imagine we bought a plane and it's like, we don't care like how many people book it.
We'll take 6 of us. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, like let's buy a $93 million plane.
Yeah.
The crazy stuff that just randomly pops into my head, like it's nuts in there, anyways, do you have anything else that people typically ask you that they want to know?
Oh. No, there's one question that I've been asked at all of the different forums.
Yeah, like what do they ask you at these forums? Are they long answers like this? Like, is it like a in-depth
No, they're
conversation like
definitely
this?
not. No. I was gonna say somebody gave me an hour and a half to talk. That's crazy.
You're like, what? This is
Oh, I could talk about so much. No, they're all across the board.
What is it,
Growth was
okay. What's
a
the
pretty
question? It's
popular
like,
one.
what do you think about the growth of Twin Falls or something?
Planned Parenthood was a pretty big one.
Planned Parenthood. What does city council have to do with Planned Parenthood?
Some people don't want Planned Parenthood here, so they were asking if I'd vote against it. And I think Craig Kelly said that the city doesn't have
City doesn't
the
have
option to
jurisdiction on that. Like these
Yeah.
are silly questions. Stop asking silly questions. Get educated, people.
I had that question a couple times. Growth, housing was another one. They're really all across the board.
Generic. How many minutes do you have to answer it?
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
So, you only get like bits and pieces, and then you're like, oh, I could have answered that better, but you don't really know what people are going to ask. And,
Yeah.
You got to keep it under 3 minutes.
I
so.
mean, I would like to kind of like, what would be even a better system is like we take a whole year and everybody puts in their questions, what they want answered on, right? And then we pick the 100 questions, and you get these, and you get these, and you get these, and then you just look at like this person said yes, no, yes on this, and then
Oh, man, that would make it a lot easier.
and then you would know exactly where everybody stands on things.
Yep.
That's impossible. That would be another app, Arnell. I cannot make that happen. Like, yeah, okay. Yeah. That would be amazing if I knew, like, if I had like 100 questions for you, and then it just gave it out to everybody.
Yeah.
And because like it wouldn't be just my question, it would be like everybody's question. Because like somebody would like say like, what do you think city council should do about Planned Parenthood? And then people would like, you can also make like comments like, what does that have to do? It's kind of like
So like you
like
can
a
see the
Reddit
updates.
Yeah, like Reddit. You know how Reddit works? You can submit something, and then people upvote stuff. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
okay.
Imagine if like a city council was like run on a system like Reddit, and then people in the city upvote good.
So the
this is
only
good
important
questions.
ones were at the top.
Only question, like silly question like that would be like down, 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 and then you would leave a comment like that is a stupid question. Do not ask that.
Yeah.
That way,
I like the
questions are
upvote.
upvote questions up and down,
And
Next-
then everybody sees it. So
Everybody
you wouldn't have
sees
to
it.
answer it every time for
yeah,
different
everybody
people.
sees it. Everybody
Yeah.
sees where you stand on.
I like that.
I can make this happen too.
I like it. Look at us. We can do this.
We can do this. The only thing is like money. Like to make all of this happen, you need like hosting,
Yeah.
and you need. I typically need like a third-party developer to help me out on some stuff. I get over
Yep.
my head. Things like that. It's money, 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 money.
And
It's
time consuming.
Time.
Yeah.
But yeah, imagine like next election, you already know where everybody stands at. And then it's
Yeah.
easy for anybody to be like, well, this person answered these questions the best, I thought.
Or they answered the most questions.
Or they answered the most questions. Sometimes
Yeah.
people won't even answer questions.
So
I
look,
have-
that'll up the person too.
this is version 1.0 of it, right? This is...
Your Excel looks like mine. I
Yeah.
love highlighting.
Yeah, like this is version 1.0 of that idea, right?
Love it.
It'll get better. We need to have the whole Reddit system up and running. But that's,
I support it.
Yeah, that's how that would kind of work. All right, and then is there anything else that they typically ask?
No, I mean,
Did you find anybody's answer interesting that was like, ooh, what? The only person that I found interesting answer had, which was, this is another seat, which was when I asked him about the whole Shoshone Falls thing, his answer was no, because he didn't want to disturb the beauty down there. So I was like, that's a good answer. And then I was like, you know what this really
is a
needs
good
to...
answer.
Yeah, I was like, this really needs to then fall back onto the population. The population has to then come to an agreement, like, do you guys want it or do you guys not want it? Because I understood his answer as well, too. It's like, I have a way of getting down there. I either will walk the shoreline or I have a secret way of getting down there. But
I think I know your secret way of doing
I don't know.
it.
Nobody knows about my secret way. I have to do some maintenance on it. I have to take a machete.
Oh,
and,
so you created the secret way.
yeah, I had to take a machete down there, and like, all right, here we go.
That's the way to do it. Well, I'm kind of torn with that.
yeah,
because,
like this is you're disturbing the beauty. Then it's like,
but then you think of like San
imagine
Antonio and the walk along the water, and I'm like, wouldn't that be kind of cool to have
Yeah.
something like that too?
well,
you
you
know?
see, there you go. So this is where that Reddit thing comes back
Yes.
in favor. It's like, let's make it so the people get to decide if they do want it or
Yes.
not. Let's make it easy for them to go ahead and be
Upvote or
like,
downvote?
upvote or downvote. Exactly. It would have to be some kind of system where everybody gets like a giant code. You know who does a pretty good job of making sure nobody cheats?
American Idol.
American Idol.
They're like, no, your phone number has already been in here.
Oh, they do it with the phone system?
I don't know, something like
Oh
that.
my God, we can make it work with the phone system. You have a phone system and you're registered and you're citizen of Twin Falls, Idaho. Let's make American Idol a voting system here.
And more people will vote.
Oh
so-
my God, people would freaking love to vote then, because it's like, okay, let me make a decision here. That.
Or an app with your IP address. You know,
Yeah,
so.
there's a way to go ahead and do
There
it. We just, the thing is, like, we haven't even dabbled. We
'Cause
haven't.
we do things the old way.
Yeah, it's like remember back in 1805 when they did this way.
Yeah.
This is how we're gonna do it. But we have technology.
But in 1805, they even had a ferry that came across the Snake River. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's like we're not advancing forward. We're like going backwards.
I
you
haven't
know?
seen an elephant on Blue Lakes lately in a parade. Have
There
you?
was an elephant on Blue Lakes.
Oh, back
I
in the
would love to
day.
see that.
in like early, it was either Blue Lakes
somebody
or
with animal PETA's like no.
second. It might have been second. I don't think Blue Lakes was around back then. It was early 1900s when Twin was first developing. But they had, there's pictures of it.
Yeah.
There's like all sorts of
They
cool
even
circus
had a
animals.
way of getting down to the bottom of Shoshone Falls. Back in the day, it was like a sketchy ladder
Yes,
system. Like
yeah.
I look at this, and it was like attached to the rock wall, and they were like going down. I have
I
these
think
old
one
photos.
of them
They're still-
capsized. One of them, something like that. It was either a ferry or
Yeah.
a boat that used to go across.
Welcome to 2021. They have gondolas now.
Yes.
You know? Like, yeah, but again, I do like that. Here's what I think about you is that you have ideas and you're open to these ideas to improving the city itself. And it doesn't seem like you're like a real politician that's like, you're not giving me like these like politic answers that
No.
sometimes I get to hear, you know?
That's probably what makes me different. Is,
Yeah.
I love this area. I've been here.
It'd be
most of
interesting
my
to
life.
see, like, you get in and it's like, how many of these ideas can she actually pull off? You know, but you might run into a lot of barriers where, like, the thing is, like, the whole city council needs to be aligned. Because if it's not
Yeah.
aligned to, like, your way of thinking or so forth, it ain't never gonna happen. Because you need at least
Yeah.
4 people to go ahead and
To break
vote
the tie.
to break the tie.
Well, what also makes me different is I am obsessed with research and like finding out better ways of doing things and waste. I hate waste
Yep.
on so many different levels. Money, I hate when money's being wasted on things that it doesn't need to be wasted on or
Yeah.
sent in places that it shouldn't. So when it comes down to actually like reading what's going on or, why money is being sent to certain places, I will definitely be the one that's like, what is this? Why is this going on? Is there a
questioning.
better way to do this? And getting to the root of what we're doing. So, and also, finding out background information. And I have a huge network of people I've just grown to know growing up in this area. So I know people that can do different jobs that might have a benefit overall, and just working together, I think is really what I would like to do is bring the community together, bring back protecting mom and pop shops, not
Yep.
so many box stores.
Yeah, they're
I don't
driving them out.
appreciate-
and, like,
no, and probably unpopular opinion, title loan places. I think it's gotten better. There was a period in time, somewhat recently, when you drive down Blue Lakes, and they were like, everywhere.
Everybody
huge
wants the title.
signs,
Give
and
me
you're
your
like,
car. I was like, what is this? Like, they want the
No.
people's cars or something like that for like a loan or something,
well, they use your car as collateral, but
and they give
I've
you a
worked
loan.
with, yeah,
And then
based off of that.
people that are getting these they just need to get by. And this goes back to affordable housing and
Yes.
getting freaking money to
Yes.
the people.
Yes, vote for me. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's what you want. There you go. All right, cool. Well, I think we got everything that I needed here answered. This has
Great.
been a really great conversation.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I feel like we need to do, all eyes should be on city candidates right now, and they should then basically, align themselves up to whoever the best candidate is. The crazy part is only 5,000 people vote typically, and then best case scenario is you get like 1,500 votes,
Yeah, that's not a lot.
Great. Yeah, all right.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
It's a big high school.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big high school. All right. Well, I think we got everything covered. If anybody needs to ask you any questions, they can email you. It's on the city's website. And then if you get invited, I guess, to any other events, you'll show up.
Yes, I will. I haven't turned any down yet.
That's great. That's great. I'm glad you didn't turn this down. So
Yeah, no, thank you.
All right. Well, it was nice meeting you, and we'll call it good here.
Have a good day.
Yep.